Five Sisters are here in the climber and walker's paradise of Kintail. No, that's not the Nolans stopping over at the Cluny Inn for a night on their way to a gig at Portree Town Hall. It is in fact a very famous ridge walk containing two of Scotland's most scenic Munros. It's a long hard day and we've started ludicrously early, which is why some of us are so grumpy.
The name Five Sisters is never used in Gaelic. It's called Attained, the big mountain, to distinguish it from Attained, the long mountain across on the other side of Glen Shiel. As far as I know, nobody in Kintail ever says anything except Sgurr, which ought to be spelled U with a grave accent above it, R-A-I-N. Sgurr na Ciste Duidhe, the score of black kist or chest. Probably the Kintail person will say Sgurr na Ciste Duidhe.
Excuse me. Well, because you step off the busy road straight onto that climb, there is pain involved. I'm sorry, I can't say to you there is pain. But as we've learned in the Munro show, a steep climb means heights gained very quickly. And should you stop for just a moment to cough up some phlegm or something, at least you can appreciate the South Glen Shiel ridge in all its glory and the very famous saddle behind me. That's the craggy one beside the pointy one. Oh, work out for yourself, get a map. Oh, so grumpy. Well, this is our route. Again, the tops are in blue and the Munros in white. We start and finish on the 887, but rather far apart, as you can see. It's always a problem in ridge walking. Well, here we are on the ridge at last, and I think this is probably my favourite sort of mountaineering, ridge walking. You do all the hard slogging first thing in the morning and then just enjoy a lovely airy walkway for the rest of the day. And this is a really classic ridge walk, the Five Sisters of Kintail, although it's actually 6 peaks in total, but only 2 are afforded Munro status. Behind me you can see the first non-Munro peak, and then in the distance there with its head slightly in the cloud, that's the last Munro, Fhuaran. But oh heavens, there's a long way to go before we reach that yet, because we've worked out in terms of vertical feet that we climb and descend, there's going to be over 10,000 feet. These hills are perhaps at their most spectacular when an early dusting of snow throws their contours into sharp relief and treats the hill walker to sights like this. But no matter what the season, the hills are spectacular, turning from emerald green in spring, through the blues of summer, to the purples and browns of autumn. Well, that's actually the cairn of Sgurr na Ciste Duidhe, the hill of the black chest, at 3,370 feet. But if you come a few yards west of it, you get a much better vantage point to look all around you. For instance, behind me you can see Glen Shiel and Loch Cluny, and across there is the South Glen Shiel Ridge, a magnificent walk when you can take in 7 Munros in one day. I did it in June and I would recommend doing it at that time of year if you want to give yourself lots of time and lots of light. We can see across to the rough bounds of Knoydart. I think you can just make out Sgurr na Ciste and unfortunately Larvins and Cloud there. But just to the right of that is the Fhuaran Ridge and the Saddle. And further round is the magnificent Ben Sgriel. Then there's the hills that lead over to Glenelg. And right round to beautiful romantic Loch Duidhe and the road to the Isles. Well, not bad today. This is 5 hours since we started and here we are on the second and the last Munro. This is the highest of the two, Sgurr at 3,505 feet. But don't be misled into thinking it's all over when you get here. It's still quite a long way to go yet. In fact, there's another 2 tops to do, but they're not Munros. We're not going to do the last one, we're going to descend after this next stop and come down, which will bring us down onto the road 5 miles away from where we started. And since I don't fancy my chances hitchhiking with a purple runny nose and a multicoloured jacket, we've rather sensibly left a car down there. Now the marvellous thing about doing this ridge from east to west is you end up with this picture postcard of a view, Loch Duidhe, the ocean and the islands beyond.